The cardboard box sat at the bottom of my bedroom closet, pushed behind stacks of old lesson plans and photo albums I hadn't opened in years. It wasn't much, just a weathered storage box with my name written in faded marker. But when my son Marcus asked me Tuesday morning why I looked so tired, why breakfast wasn't ready, why I seemed upset, I thought about that box. And for the first time in 18 months, I lied to my own child with a perfectly clear conscience. I told him I hadn't slept well, but that box held something he could never know about. Not yet. It started the way these things always do. Gradually. So gradually, you convince yourself it's normal, that you're helping, that this is what mothers do. Marcus showed up on my doorstep 3 years after his father died, 6 months after his divorce was finalized. He had 2 suitcases, and our grandson, Tyler, who was 5 at the time. "Just for a little while, Mom," he said. "Just until I get back on my feet." I was 66, had been retired from teaching for a year, and the house felt too big and too quiet since Paul passed. Having my son and grandson there seemed like a gift. The first month was wonderful. Marcus cooked dinner sometimes. Tyler's laughter filled the rooms. We watched cartoons together on Saturday mornings. Marcus got a job interview, then another. Things were looking up. But then the interviews stopped yielding offers. 1 month became 3. 3 became 6. And slowly, so slowly I didn't notice until it was too late, Marcus stopped looking for work and started looking at my life like it was his to manage. "Mom, you're running the heat too high. Your electric bill is ridiculous." That was the first comment. Then it was, "Why do you need cable? You barely watch TV. I canceled it." Then, "I noticed you drove to the grocery store. It's only 4 blocks. You should walk. Save gas. Better for your health anyway." At first, I thought he was being practical, helpful even. He'd always been the responsible one, the numbers person like his father. He was just trying to save me money. I told myself he was stressed about his situation. It would pass when he found work. But he didn't look for work. Instead, he found new ways to insert himself into my routines. He started checking the mail before I could get to it. "Just helping out, Mom. You don't need to worry about bills anymore. I've got it handled." He convinced me to add him to my checking account. "Just in case something happens to you, Mom. I should be able to access funds for Tyler." That made sense. I was 67. What if I had a medical emergency? So I added his name. 3 weeks later, I went to withdraw cash for my Tuesday morning coffee with my former teaching colleague, Donna. My card was declined. I called the bank from my cell phone, embarrassed, hands shaking. The balance was $47. My pension deposit of $2,100 had gone in 5 days earlier. I drove home, confused. When I asked Marcus about it, he sat me down at the kitchen table like I was one of his employees at the sales job he'd had before the divorce. "Mom, we need to talk about your spending." He pulled out a spreadsheet, an actual spreadsheet. "You're burning through money on unnecessary things. Coffee out, lunches with friends, those books you keep buying. I've set up a budget. I'll give you $200 a month for personal expenses. Everything else goes to household costs, Tyler's needs, and savings. $200 from my own pension." The pension I'd earned teaching 7th grade English for 32 years. "But Marcus," I started, "the house is paid off. What household costs?" "Mom." His voice was sharp. "Do you know what groceries cost now? What utilities run? I'm managing everything so you don't have to stress. This is me taking care of you. You're almost 70. You should be relaxing, not worrying about money." The way he said almost 70 made me feel ancient, incompetent. I was 67 and had been handling finances perfectly fine since his father died 3 years ago. But I didn't say that. I just nodded. He was doing me a favor by staying, helping with bills, keeping me company, wasn't he? The $200 a month lasted about a week each time. He controlled it completely. "Mom, you don't need new shoes. Those are fine. Coffee with Donna again? We have coffee here. You're wasting money. You want to buy Tyler a birthday present?" I already got him something. From both of us. I stopped going to coffee. I stopped attending my book club at the library. I stopped driving to my former school for volunteer reading sessions. It was easier than asking for gas money, than explaining why I, A grown woman with a pension couldn't afford a $5 coffee or a $15 book. Then he sold my car. I came home from walking Tyler to the park one Saturday, and my 2019 Honda Civic was gone from the driveway. "I sold it," Marcus said casually, not looking up from his phone. "You weren't driving it much anyway. Got $8,000 for it. That'll help with expenses. $8,000. "Marcus, where's the money?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "In the account. Mom, our account. Don't worry about it." But I did worry. I checked the account that evening when he was giving Tyler a bath. The $8,000 wasn't there. Just $372, and my next pension deposit wasn't for 2 weeks. I didn't have a car anymore. Marcus had one, but he used it for errands and looking for work, though I never saw evidence of either. When I asked to borrow it to visit my sister Catherine, who lived 40 minutes away, he said, "Mom, you're not a safe driver anymore. I've noticed your reflexes slowing down. It's better if I drive you places." I was 67, not 97. I'd never had an accident, but I didn't fight. I stopped asking to go anywhere. Catherine called less and less. When I did answer, Marcus would hover nearby, listening. I started letting calls go to voicemail, then stopped checking voicemail altogether. The house became my entire world, and Marcus was the sun it revolved around. His moods dictated everything. If Tyler was too loud, we all had to be quiet. If Marcus wanted the TV, we watched what he wanted. If he decided we were eating at 6 instead of 6:30, dinner was at 6. My schedule, my preferences, my 30 years of living in this house, none of it mattered anymore. I was a guest in my own home. The breaking point came on a Thursday afternoon in September. Tyler's 7th birthday was the next day. I had exactly $14 in my pocket, money I'd saved coin by coin from checking the couch cushions and my coat pockets. I walked to the dollar store, 4 blocks away, and tried to find something, anything, for my grandson's birthday. I stood in the toy aisle for 20 minutes, looking at cheap action figures and coloring books, and I started crying. Not quiet tears, sobs. Deep, horrible sobs that came from somewhere dark and shameful. A 7-year-old boy I'd helped raise for 2 years, and I couldn't afford a decent birthday present because my own son had taken everything. An older woman, probably about my age, stopped her cart. "Honey, are you all right?" I wiped my eyes, humiliated. "I'm fine, just being silly." But she didn't move. She looked at my worn coat, good quality but 5 years old. My shoes, the ones Marcus said were fine, with the soles starting to separate. My purse, a leather bag Paul had bought me for our 40th anniversary, now frayed at the handles. "My name is Sarah," she said quietly. "I'm an estate attorney, but I used to be your student. Oakmont Middle School, 1994. You taught me that I could write, that words mattered. Do you remember me? Sarah Chen?" I stared at her. Sarah Chen, quiet girl, brilliant essays, went to law school. She'd sent me a graduation announcement. That was, 15 years ago? "Sarah," I whispered. "I remember." She smiled, but her eyes were serious. "Mrs. Patterson, I need to give you my card. I specialize in elder law now, estate planning, but also elder financial abuse. If you ever need to talk, if you ever need help, please call me." She pressed a business card into my hand. I looked at it. Sarah Chen, Esquire Elder Law and Estate Planning. A phone number. An address on Maple Street. I started, but she squeezed my hand. "Keep it anyway, please. You taught me to recognize when something wasn't right in a story. I'm seeing something not right here." I bought a $10 coloring book set with the $14 and walked home. Marcus was on the couch watching sports. "Where were you?" he asked, not looking up. "Dollar store, for Tyler's birthday. I already bought him a bike. From both of us. You didn't need to waste money." I went to my room and hid Sarah's card inside the cardboard box at the bottom of my closet, the one with my Teacher of the Year awards from 2003, 2008, and 2012. Awards Marcus had never bothered to ask about, never helped me display, never acknowledged. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Sarah's eyes. The way she'd looked at me, not with pity, but recognition, like she'd seen this before. At 3 in the morning, I got up and pulled down that cardboard box. The awards were there, relics from a life where I'd mattered, where I'd been competent and respected. Sarah's card fell out. I traced the embossed lettering. Maple Street. I knew where that was. 20 minutes away walking. If I still had the stamina. I hadn't walked that far in months. The next Tuesday, while Marcus took Tyler to a free kids event at the library, his only regular outing with his son, I walked to Maple Street. It took me 35 minutes. My knees ached. I hadn't walked this far since he'd sold my car. Sarah's office was in a renovated Victorian house, professional but warm. I stood outside for 10 minutes before I found the courage to go in. The receptionist was kind. "Can I help you? I'm looking for Sarah Chen. My name is Helen Patterson." The receptionist smiled. "Let me see if she's available." 5 minutes later, Sarah came out. She was professionally dressed, confident, nothing like the shy 13-year-old I'd encouraged to join the school newspaper. But her smile was the same. "Mrs. Patterson, I'm so glad you came." We sat in her office. She made tea. I tried to explain and couldn't find words. Finally, it all tumbled out. 18 months of Marcus controlling everything. My pension, my car, my phone, my freedom. Living on $200 a month from my own money. Being told I was too old to drive, to make decisions, to have coffee with friends. Watching my grandson grow up in my house while being unable to buy him a birthday present. "This sounds ridiculous," I said. "He hasn't hit me. He's not threatening me. He's my son. He's just trying to help, and I'm being ungrateful." "Mrs. Patterson," Sarah's voice was firm. "This is elder financial abuse. It's real, it's illegal, and what you're describing is serious. Your son is committing financial exploitation. He's isolating you, controlling your assets, and diminishing your autonomy. This is abuse." I started crying then. Real tears, the kind I'd been holding back for 18 months. Sarah handed me tissues and waited. "Have you thought about asking him to leave?" she asked gently. "I can't. It's his home too now. He has nowhere to go. Tyler needs stability. I can't kick out my own son and grandson." "Helen," she used my first name, and it felt like a lifeline. "You can ask him to leave. It won't be easy, but you can. And I can help you." Over the next 6 weeks, I visited Sarah every Tuesday. We made a plan. A real, actionable plan. First, I needed documentation. Bank statements, pension records, the deed to my house, proof that my name was on everything, and Marcus was just an authorized user. The file cabinet in Paul's old office had everything, but Marcus had taken to sorting through it. I didn't have a key anymore. He'd taken it for safekeeping. It took me 4 Tuesdays to find where Marcus had hidden the key. I searched when he took Tyler to the park, when he was in the shower, when he went to the convenience store. Finally, I found it in his bedroom, in a shoebox under his bed. On the 5th Tuesday, while he was at the library with Tyler, I opened the file cabinet and made copies of everything at the UPS store 3 blocks away. My hands shook so badly I could barely operate the copier. Every time the door opened, I thought it was Marcus. But I got copies of everything, bank statements showing the pension deposits and his withdrawals. The car title sale record I found buried in the files, showing he'd deposited the $8,000 into a separate account I didn't have access to. The deed to the house showing only my name. I put everything back and returned the key before they got home. Second, Sarah connected me with a legal aid attorney who handled elder abuse cases pro bono. Her name was Jennifer Marks, and she was younger than Marcus, but razor sharp. She explained that I had every right to revoke Marcus's access to my accounts, to ask him to leave my property, to reclaim my money. But first, Jennifer said, you need a safe place to go for a few days. When we serve him with eviction papers and freeze his access to your accounts, he's going to be angry. You need to not be there. That was the terrifying part. Where would I go? Sarah knew a woman named Dorothy who ran a senior boarding house, a large craftsman home with 6 bedrooms for seniors in transition. It wasn't a nursing home, just a house where older people who needed temporary housing could stay. $60 a week for a room with a private bath. Dorothy had seen enough financial abuse cases that she didn't ask questions. Sarah paid my first week. You'll pay me back when you get your money sorted, she said. But right now, you need to be safe. The cardboard box from my closet would be how I'd carry what mattered. Dorothy sent it home with Sarah after I visited to see the room. Left behind by someone who'd moved on to better things, Dorothy told me. You will too. I brought it home hidden in a canvas grocery bag and slowly, over 3 weeks, filled it. 2 pairs of pants, 3 shirts, underwear, socks, my mother's pearls that Marcus didn't know I'd kept, the photo album from my wedding, Paul's watch, my teaching awards. Everything that truly mattered fit in that box with room left over. 68 years of life, and everything I couldn't bear to lose fit in a cardboard box. Jennifer filed papers for eviction and an emergency protective order to freeze Marcus's access to my accounts. The papers would be served at the house, but I wouldn't be there. We picked a Thursday. Marcus had a pattern of taking Tyler to the early movie matinee on Thursdays. Cheap tickets, free refills on popcorn. They'd be gone from noon until 3 at least. Wednesday night, I lay in bed listening to Marcus snore in the guest room down the hall. My guest room. In my house. I felt nothing toward him. No love. No anger. Just a vast, empty need for this to be over. Thursday morning, I made breakfast like always. Oatmeal for Marcus, scrambled eggs for Tyler. Marcus complained about the toast being too dark. Tyler chattered about the movie they were seeing. I kissed my grandson's forehead when they left. Marcus didn't say goodbye. He never did anymore. I waited 15 minutes to be sure they were really gone. Then I pulled the cardboard box from the closet. I wasn't shaking. I was calm, floating almost. I walked through the house one more time. The kitchen where I'd taught Marcus to make cookies when he was 8. The living room where Paul and I had danced on our anniversary. The bedroom where I'd slept for 42 years. I didn't take pictures off walls. I didn't leave a note. Jennifer had been clear. Don't give him anything to use. Don't explain, just leave. Sarah was waiting outside in her car. She'd taken the afternoon off to drive me. Ready? She asked. I put the cardboard box in her trunk. Ready. I didn't look back. Dorothy's boarding house was on Riverside Drive, in a neighborhood I'd never been to despite living in this town for 45 years. Dorothy met us at the door, a sturdy woman in her 70s with white hair and kind eyes. She showed me to my room. Small, with a double bed, a dresser, a reading chair, and a window overlooking a garden. Bathroom's private, just for you, Dorothy said. Breakfast at 8, dinner at 6:30. Kitchen's open any time. There are 3 other ladies here now. Good women. You'll like them. After she left, I sat on the bed and cried. Not from sadness, from relief so overwhelming it felt like falling. I was safe. For the first time in 18 months, I was safe. Marcus called my cell phone 32 times that evening. I'd left the phone behind, but Sarah told me later when she and Jennifer went to the house with a sheriff's deputy to retrieve my things. He'd called Sarah's office 19 times. He'd called the police claiming I was a missing person until Jennifer informed them I'd left voluntarily, that I was a competent adult exercising my right to leave my own home. He'd called my sister Catherine, whose number he'd had all along but had discouraged me from using. Catherine called Sarah sobbing, saying she'd been trying to reach me for over a year, that her letters had been returned, her calls not answered. She'd thought I was angry with her. The papers were served to Marcus at the house by the sheriff. According to Jennifer, he tried to refuse them, claiming it was a mistake, that his mother was confused, that someone had manipulated me. The sheriff explained that wasn't how it worked. He had 30 days to vacate. The emergency order froze his access to my checking account immediately. The look on his face, Jennifer told me, was shock, pure shock, like he genuinely couldn't believe I'd done this. The legal process took 6 months. Marcus fought everything. The eviction, the demand to return the car sale money, my petition to revoke his power of attorney I hadn't even known I'd signed until Jennifer found it in the files. He claimed I'd given him permission for everything, that I was mentally declining, that he'd been protecting me from my own bad decisions. But Jennifer had the documentation, the bank statements showing he'd spent my entire pension every month while contributing nothing. The car sale showing the money had gone into his private account. The statements from Donna and Catherine and my former principal, all saying I'd been isolated and controlled. Judge Patricia Morrison had seen enough financial elder abuse cases to recognize one immediately. The eviction was upheld. Marcus had to leave. The $8,000 from my car had to be returned, plus the 18 months of pension money he'd taken beyond reasonable household expenses. Jennifer calculated he owed me approximately $31,000. The judge ordered a payment plan since Marcus claimed he didn't have it in cash, $2,000 a month until paid in full, plus I got a restraining order. He couldn't contact me except through attorneys. Tyler could visit me supervised at Catherine's house once a month. That part hurt the most, but Jennifer said it was necessary until Marcus showed he could be respectful. I kept living at Dorothy's house even though I could afford my own place now. My pension was mine again, $2,100 a month, plus Marcus's repayments, but Dorothy's house had become home. I liked eating dinner with Betty, who'd escaped her daughter's financial abuse. I liked morning coffee with Lorraine, who'd lost her house to a scam and was rebuilding. I liked having Dorothy's wisdom available when I needed it. We weren't victims anymore. We were survivors helping each other survive. Catherine drove up from Portland the week after the judge's ruling. We sat in Dorothy's garden and cried and laughed and filled in 18 months of missed conversations. She showed me pictures of her grandchildren, told me about her book club, her garden. I told her about the part-time job I'd gotten at the community college, teaching a creative writing workshop for seniors. It didn't pay much, but it was mine. My money, my schedule, my choice. "Why didn't you call me?" Catherine asked, wiping her eyes. "I would have come. I would have helped." "I know," I said. I was ashamed. And after a while, I forgot that I could. Last week, I started volunteering with Sarah's legal practice. I meet with other seniors who suspect financial abuse. I sit in that office with the garden window and make tea and tell them what Sarah told me. This is real. This is abuse. You can leave, and we can help you. Sarah introduced me to a woman my age, whose nephew had taken over her finances. She couldn't believe she wasn't alone. "That's the worst part of this kind of abuse," I told her. "They make you think it's just you, that you're the problem, but you're not. You're worth fighting for." I went back to my house 2 weeks ago for the first time since I'd left. Marcus was gone. The place was empty except for my furniture. He'd taken the TV, his belongings, some kitchen items. Fine. Let him have them. I walked through the rooms and realized something. This house wasn't home anymore. Too many memories of feeling small, of being controlled, of losing myself room by room. I called a realtor that afternoon. The house sold in 3 weeks. I made $218,000 after paying off the small mortgage. I didn't know Marcus had taken out against it without my knowledge. Another thing Jennifer had discovered. I bought a small condo near Dorothy's neighborhood. 2 bedrooms, one for me and one for Tyler when he visits. Modern kitchen, garden patio. It's mine, only my name on everything. I'm 68 years old and starting over, and it feels like freedom. Marcus sent one email through Jennifer last month. He apologized, said he'd been stressed, that he hadn't realized how bad it had gotten, that he wanted to make things right. Jennifer asked if I wanted to respond. I said no. Some people don't get second chances, not because they don't deserve them, but because you deserve peace more than they deserve your forgiveness. I still have that cardboard box. It sits in my condo closet, empty now except for my teaching awards, which I finally framed and hung in my living room. Sometimes I look at that box and remember the woman who packed it with shaking hands, who didn't know if she'd have the courage to leave her own son, her own house, her own life behind. I want to tell her, you did it. You survived. You're free. But she knows. She knew all along. She was just waiting for the right Thursday to finally believe it.